Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, and welcome to Linda's Conscious Talks, and I'm your host, Linda Summers, and we've got an awesome show for you today. Our topic today is how a software platform gives you the power to reprogram your subconscious mind by simply browsing the web with Misha Michaelian. And I wanted to give you a little bit of information about him before we get started in the show and bring him on board. Misha is an 8-time entrepreneur, and he started his first company, the first online Yellow Pages, at the age of 15. His current company, Intently, is a platform that allows users to replace online ads with inspirational content of their choice. And with that, I'd like to bring Misha to the show. Welcome, Misha.
Ow! Thank you. Great to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited. I think this is just amazing. In fact, I'd like to talk to you myself just to put advertising, because this is such a powerful, anything with intention is powerful. So I just really kind of want to find out, how did you even create Intently? How did this all come about?
I've a couple years ago, I really set the intention that my next company was going to have a major impact on the world, on the people that are using what we're doing, and I got really clear on where my strengths were and what how I can contribute to bring something in the world. And I knew it was going to be a software platform. I knew it was going to be something that was really scalable, that can affect hundreds of millions of people. And I literally just started meditating on these what I wanted to bring to this and what I wanted this company to bring to the world. And about a week into these meditations, I just had a full vision for Intently. I pictured myself browsing the web, and instead of seeing advertisements, I was seeing the perfect quote of what I needed to see to support me throughout the day, to support me on my journey, to support me, with whatever I was going through in my life. And it's like, as soon as I saw the vision, I just knew that was the next thing I had to create, and started putting the team together to do it. And here we are, a year and a half later, getting ready to launch it publicly.
Wow, I love it. And something you said about getting clear. I think with a lot of people that if we're not, they're not really sure of where their path is, they have some idea. How did you get clear on that? Like when you said getting clear, how did you get clear? Was that with the meditation?
Yeah, no, I think it was just a lot of experience, a lot of trial and error. I had some successful businesses before Intently that, that were, financially successful, weren't really fulfilling me in terms of the value we were creating in the world. And, so I just got really clear that what was important to me was to create something that was going to be able to have an impact out there beyond just, being able to, become a thriving business.
Right. Well, it's so interesting because the first online Yellow Page at the age of 15, oh my gosh, you're totally an entrepreneur. Wow.
And I was a little ahead of my time. I can't say it was super successful. I didn't really know what I was doing back then, but it's been a fun journey. I'm really, really blessed to have started the entrepreneurial journey young, and I've learned a lot of great lessons along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you mentioned changes in the ad industry. So how can you, how will this actually work? How can you do that with changing? Because, people are advertising their ads all the time.
Yeah, so it's actually there's a really interesting thing happening in the ad industry right now, is that there's these ad blockers that are taking over. Like 27% of people are using ad blocking software right now. And the way these ad blocking softwares work is they make money by blocking 90% of the ads, and then 10% of the ads they let through have to meet certain qualities. Currently, they're quality standards that are arbitrarily set by the ad blocking companies. Now, our vision is to give users control over the ads they see. So, you could control your ads based on the values of the companies that advertise to you. You could say, I only want companies to advertise to me that meet certain criteria in environmental sustainability, or that treat their workers fairly. So you could basically voice your vote with your mind share, and know that when you're getting targeted by companies, or companies that align with your values, and companies that are advertising something that you want to see, quite frankly. So we feel if we can make that shift in the advertising world and give consumers complete control over who is allowed to advertise to them, it would actually make a huge difference in the world, because we have this $150 billion industry that companies use to get in touch with people and to get their products out in people. But if consumers were voting with their mind share and with their values, companies would have to start showing up in the world in a way that aligns with those consumers. And they wouldn't be able to use greenwashing tactics and do the kind of things they do right now to basically trick us into supporting companies that at the end of the day we might not really believe in.
Absolutely. And you know what's interesting is that when we talk about programming, which the programs that we see, well, I don't watch TV, but people who are watching TV, it really is programming their mind. And so what you're doing is reprogramming the subconscious mind in a very healthy, in a very intentional, in a very high vibrational way, which I think is just it's astounding.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so impactful. A week does not go by that I don't get emails from our users telling me about some situation in life where they showed up differently because of this intention that they've been seeing. And I actually have a story about my first intently experience when I realized I had to reprogram my subconscious. I added an image to my vision channel that said, "You'll continue to be tested until you're no longer triggered." And when I read that quote for the first time, I was like, well, that's really profound. Every time I'm triggered about anything, I'm being tested for something. So, that's a distinction I want to be aware of. And I added it to my Intently channel. It works like Pinterest. It's super simple. If you see an image you like or a quote you like while browsing the web, you open the image and you click the intent button, much like you would pin it on Pinterest. So it's a very simple interface to get something into your ad stream, basically. So now here I am, and I browse the web every single day. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on these blogs, and I start seeing that image over and over again every single day. 3 weeks later, fast forward, I'm sitting down with my mom, we're having dinner, and my mom said something that just triggered the crap out of me. I just was so triggered by the thing that she said, and my mind instantly went, what are you being tested for right now? And I sat down, I took a breath, and I was like, what am I being tested for? I'm being tested to be compassionate towards my mom right now because she sees life through a very different lens. This is my ego trying to make this feel like it's something about me when it's not. And then I just dropped in and had the most loving, connected dinner with my mom. And the interesting thing, it wasn't until the next day that I was actually on a blog, VentureBeat, that I like to follow, and I saw that banner instead of my ad that said, you'll continue to be tested and you're no longer triggered. And I was like, holy crap, that totally shifted my dinner last night, and I didn't even realize it. It was right there in my subconscious. I didn't even at the time. And those are the kind of emails we get from their users all the time, where it's like, oh my gosh, I was in a fight with my boyfriend and I treated him differently, and the next day I realized it was because of this image I kept seeing. So, if you can identify what's holding you back in life, what are your limiting beliefs, what are some of the things you're really trying to create for yourself in terms of your ways of being and how you show up in the world, it's really easy to just create some quick images or find some images around the web that align with that and add them to your Intently channel. And just by seeing them over and over again, it'll start, reprogramming. It's kind of like taking the Post-it note on the bathroom mirror that people used to do, except you don't filter it out because it's not in the same place all the time. So it doesn't become just a thing you don't see anymore. And it just makes it more interactive and more potent for you to be experiencing that image on different websites wherever you go.
I love that. So let me ask you a question. When you mentioned the Vision channel, is that your channel or is that a different channel like Pinterest? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so it's either. So you could create your own channel, which is totally private to you, that nobody else can see. Or you can subscribe to other channels. There's been thousands of channels created by our users right now that are up live on Intently, where you can subscribe to different channels from different people.
I love that. Well, so let's go back to, because you mentioned subconscious, and I think there's a huge distinction between subconscious versus conscious mind. So how does Intently work on the subconscious mind? But because we do have this conscious mind, right? And it's really where the subconscious is the one directing everything, because the subconscious doesn't know right or wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of look at it as like the subconscious mind is out there, it's taking care of your bodily functions. There's all these things happening that we're not really consciously thinking about. And like when I had that experience with my mom, to me that was my subconscious mind that was saying, okay, I'm in a situation. This is one way to view the situation. And I wasn't conscious at the time that was because of this Intently image. It wasn't, it's kind of like the conscious mind was being provided that guidance from my subconscious mind at that moment.
I love that. So when the people are actually looking, so this is where the subconscious is, when you're continually looking at this image or this quote, and you constantly see that, it's almost like it just becomes part of you. And then there really comes an awareness of things. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Part of the reason I love this so much is because I've always loved vision boards, and I've loved really getting intentional about what I'm creating in my life. But I would make them, and then they would end up in some drawer somewhere, and I wouldn't see that for months. And then I'd look back and I'd be like, oh, this happened and this happened, but I totally forgot about all this other stuff. And Intently is really allows you to experience all those things you want to create for yourself throughout the day, every single day.
Mhm. What I love too is when you talk about your business or really your life, that these are a reflection of you. When you're having, especially for your business, if you're having different quotes, that you want to find quotes or images that are a reflection of you and your business, you and or your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a great concept. I think it's an amazing concept. Well, just before we even get started, how can people actually get a hold of you if they want to start looking up your information on your website?
Yeah, so our product, you can find us at intently.com, and you can also get in touch with me through the platform. So you can add me as a friend on the platform and share images with me, or I can share images with you. So there's social components within the platform. And you can also find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and would love to connect with people individually if there's any ways that you'd like to contribute to our movement or support on what you're doing in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is definitely something because it's really always about raising your vibration, and this is a way to really raise your vibration by what we're thinking, what we're seeing, our actions. And so I think it's just an amazing concept. I would love to talk to you about that for myself as well. But you also mentioned a beta test group. So what is this beta test group?
So right now the product's in beta. We haven't started promoting it yet. We're going to start doing that in the next month or so. So it's getting really close to being released out in the wild. Right now, the product is available on Google Chrome and Firefox, and we're going to be coming out with our Safari extension soon. So it'll be working in all of the three major browser platforms. And basically, until we're ready to release the product that's available for the entire general public to use, no matter what browser you're on, or for most browsers, we wanted to keep it in beta and work out all the different bugs in the system. But the system's in a very stable place right now. We've had our beta group going for the last 6 months, and we've ironed out all the kinks in the software, and the system's working really, really good right now.
Awesome. Do you find people are really receptive to this, or do you find people are really receptive to being able to want to be able to do this?
Oh, yeah. It's so interesting. More than any business I've ever started, I feel like with Intently, when I talk to people about it, they're just like, oh, that's great. I get that. I get rid of something that's not serving me in my life, and I insert something that serves me that I want to see in an activity I'm already doing anyways, and it's just kind of a no-brainer. So we're being received really well. A lot of our users are loving the platform. They're telling their friends about it. They're bringing their friends on the platform. So it's just our beta group has grown significantly without us having to really do anything, just because of word of mouth of the users that are using the platform right now. So I feel like the reception out there has been really positive for the platform.
Awesome. So when people actually go in and do this, because I was thinking about copywriting or, taking an image and applying that, but I guess it really wouldn't be. There wouldn't be any sort of, because are you guys doing it for them, for the business, and personally for people?
Yes. So how it works right now is you set up an account on Intently, and you can either search through our image database. All our images are tagged, and these are images that all our users uploaded to the platform. So kind of like you were searching for an image on Pinterest or Google Images. Mm-hmm. And you can add those to one of your vision channels right from our platform. You could also search for images on Pinterest or on Google Images or on any of these image websites And right from those images, you can press a little button that'll be overlaid on the images and add them to one of your channels. And the last thing that we're working on, new features and functionalities that'll allow you to actually like answer some questions and have images created custom for you. Those features will be out later in the fall. And we're also working on features that will allow you to create your own images with your own custom quotes. So if you want to create an image or that has a saying on there that is very specific to you, or a goal that's very specific to you, you can overlay it right on the image. And until we have those tools out, you can go to like a website. There's a great website called recite.com, RECITE, and you can create an image on that website with any quote, any words in under 10 seconds and pick the background you want for it. It's really easy and fun to use. And then once you create the image, you just right-click it and add it to your Intently channel. So you can right-click on any image around the web, and there'll be a menu that'll allow you to add it to your Vision channel on Intently once you have the Intently extension installed.
And what was the site again?
The image generation website is recite.com, RECITE.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So you have a lot of favorite stories. I mean, you gave a story of yours, which I thought was amazing. Do you have any favorite stories, or just stories that really the listeners that can just be like, oh my gosh, like that's incredible?
What's interesting is that I had a story recently that just really, really touched my heart. One of our Intently users reached out to me because a friend of theirs was actually in a really bad space, and they were actually feeling suicidal. And she was over at their place supporting them, and she set up Intently on his computer. She asked him what he was grateful for in life, and she created a channel that's specifically around everything that the guy was actually grateful for. And, this is somebody that just lost their job, and they're just in the dumps, and they were like on Facebook all day seeing how great everybody was doing, and it was making it worse for them, frankly. And within 5 days, he reached back out to her and said just that it's had a phenomenal impact on how he felt, that he wasn't feeling suicidal anymore, that he's just being connected to what he was grateful for throughout the day has had such a huge impact on how he's feeling. And when I heard that, it just blew my mind, because I never was thinking of Intently being used for those types of purposes. I always looked at it as, this is going to be a platform for people that are, already kicking butt in life and they're trying to take it to the next level. And all of a sudden it hit me like, wow, this platform can serve people throughout the entire spectrum of where they're at. If it can help somebody who's feeling suicidal get in touch with what they're grateful for in life, that gives them a new kind of set of perspective and context in how they show up day by day. It brought me to tears, and it was one of my favorite stories so far. And since then we've been reaching out to different like suicide prevention nonprofits and what have you to figure out how we can build a tool around that they could use that would actually really support the people that are facing those types of challenges in life. So yeah, the stories are constantly flowing in from things like that to stories of it like up-leveling people's lives that are already out there doing big things in the world. So, it's really just gratifying to hear from our users. So if you are out there using Intently and you have a great story, please share it with us. We'd love to hear that.
Absolutely. And it just sounds like it's just expanding more than, you know what I mean? You think you're doing it for one purpose or, in one realm, and then all of a sudden the expansion of it just really expands beyond what we think, which I think is amazing.
Absolutely. So I'm very open to where this takes us, and very cognizant that, the journey ahead might not be what I thought it was, when we first started. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Super exciting.
So like the cost of something like this, I don't even know if you can say really the cost, but is it very costly to do something of this nature? Because advertising itself can be very costly.
Yeah, so we don't pay for the advertising because we're using software to block the advertising. which a lot of ad blocking companies do. It's a very common practice. You know, it's kind of like using a TiVo box to fast forward through your commercials on TV. So, you know, yeah, we were in development for over a year, and we currently have a team of 7 people, and we're paying for their salaries and what have you. So if you can imagine, you know, it's definitely cost a significant amount of money to create what we've created so far. It was, you know, it wasn't an easy piece of software to build. I could just say that it had a lot of complexities and moving pieces from the interface to ad blocking component, the ad replacing component, to the, you know, back end database and the user controls and the social features. You know, it was a really, you know, it was a journey to get to where we're at right now. So we're very excited.
Absolutely. This sounds like it's going to be like the next Facebook, the next, you know, Google. We're going to be hearing about you guys, we already are, and also having a story about you guys. And you'll be in the movies and, you know, how it all began. So it's usually, you know, like look at Steve Jobs. I mean, this is just one of the things when you have such a passion for really shifting the consciousness, and that's really what you're wanting to do, shift the consciousness by reprogramming them, and you know, it just gets bigger and bigger, and it's amazing. So I thank you for doing it. All the listeners do too. So definitely.
Thank you. Really appreciate that acknowledgement, and being put in such great company there. But it's really, there's just a wave of businesses right now that are really looking forward in terms of the evolution of humanity and how we're, you know, creating a more sustainable, just, and thriving world for everybody. And it's really beautiful to see business being used as a platform to actually like create incredible social change in the world. And I've been following a lot of other companies that are on a similar path, and it feels like there's some real momentum behind this for benefit business movement arising as really like a whole new fourth sector of the economy, which is really, really exciting to me as an entrepreneur and somebody that's been, you know, expressing my creativity and my artistry in the world through business. So
absolutely, yeah. Well, like you said, you're creating a new paradigm in the world in online advertising, and it's awesome to see that there's other companies that are really kind of you guys are all blending and really kind of working together, you know, to create something that's large that'll just really expand and expand. So what's one thing that you could give the listeners that really helped you on your journey to coming into the work that you're doing right now with Intently and just in the whole consciousness?
You know, I think like one of the most impactful things I did and the decisions I've made, you know, like a decade ago was starting to get very conscious and intentional about who I was spending time with in my life, like choosing my communities, choosing my friends, being very deliberate of like, okay, no, like I really like how these people are showing up in the world, and I'm going to start spending more time with them. And really, I find like we up-level our experience of who we become based on who we surround ourselves by. So my business partner told me about a Chinese proverb one time that says you're the sum of the 5 closest people you have in your life. So to me, that was like a really big thing that I did where, you know, there were times in my life where I wasn't on this path and I wasn't, you know, really focused on making an impact and making a difference. And, you know, I started shifting who I was spending time with and the communities I was in. And as I, you know, got more intentional about that, it really up-leveled my experience of life.
So what brought you to make that shift, though? What took you from where you were to make that shift in your consciousness to decide you want to really look at the people you're hanging around with and really what's happening around your life? So you became very aware.
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing, I've done a lot of personal development work, like a lot of different workshops, and done a lot of like work on myself, so to speak. So I really invested in me. And the one workshop that had the biggest impact on me was the Landmark Forum, and that really it's called the Landmark Forum.
Oh yeah, I did that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it's that was a real catalyst for me to being more intentional and more aware of really seeing that I create everything that's around me based on just based on how I show up and how I am in the present moment every single day, and that really releasing everything from the past, all the past-based things that we feel like we're kind of carrying around the world with us. That workshop, more than anything else, helped me like really release all that and leave it in the past, so I could just have a very, very free space to create from. And something I definitely recommend for other people to experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great program. Did you find it difficult? Because, people are probably listening and saying, well, that's easier said than done, releasing the past, because, it's like you kind of hold it and you kind of, put it in a box on a shelf, I don't know, waiting for that moment to bring it out again. Who knows? But did you find it difficult to really release the past?
It was a process, and I feel like there's still some elements of letting go. There's still some things that kind of come up for me sometime, but for the most part, I feel like I've really released most of it, and I'm able to really live in the present. And the reason I mentioned Landmark is just because I've done a lot of other workshops, and it's actually one of the least expensive workshops out there, and it was also the most impactful one for me. So, I felt personally that the distinctions that I learned through Landmark had the greatest impact on me actually being able to release that past and move forward with just a total clear space.
Well, it sounds like from that shifting of all of that led you into the meditation, led you into doing all this, which really led you to what you're really passionate about, and which is intently, and getting very clear with wanting to make a difference and be, helping out there and contributing.
Yeah.
So I really think with
yeah, it was just a catalyst, and it's always an ongoing journey in terms of like what's the next thing that's out there for me. So, but it's really created a kind of a new path for me in my life, and I've never been happier or more fulfilled than I am right now. Just being a contribution and just like being in a space of love with everybody that's around me, and just really following my passion, following my doing things in life that I'm passionate about and really fired up by.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so it sounds like, to reiterate, what you're really saying is that it's really looking at who are we, who's in our life, that are they helping us to move forward, or are they holding us back? And it's an inside job to really go within oneself and see what's not serving us, is what I hear you saying. And then once you clear that space, then you're able to have the space to be able to start creating and find that passion within yourself, and really looking at things within yourself that you really are passionate about, that you really love doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Well, it couldn't agree more.
Well, I just said what you just said, so I was literally reiterating what you were saying. So you, again, I think what you're doing is amazing, and I think anything that we are doing in the world that is really shifting the consciousness, which you guys are definitely doing. I mean, with a company called Intently, everything that we do in life, everything is intention. No matter what, if we're going to the store, it's intention. If we get up in the morning, that's an intent. There's so much. And so I just commend you and your team for really taking this to another level and bringing this forward and being who you are and what you're doing in the world. So thank you for your contribution to really making a difference. It's awesome.
You're welcome.
And thank you for being on the show
to you.
Today.
Yeah, thank you for having this platform for people to hear about these things that are aligned with living a lifestyle that is more intentional and to vibration of the planet. Like it takes a village. It takes media outlets and platforms and blogs and radio shows and all these things. So just really appreciate you and appreciate what you're doing for for your tribe and your community, and for all of us to really be spreading these messages. And it's so important right now, so important.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing it all together, one person at a time, and just shifting and changing the world. So, well, we want to thank you again, Misha, for being on the show, and we thank for everyone all the listeners out there who joined us today, and the ones who will be joining us via YouTube. You will be able to watch this video and hear this video on YouTube. We thank you so much, and please follow, subscribe, comment, and like us, and you can join us next week, August 13th, for the next show, which will be Shiatsu, to help raise your consciousness with Allie Grove. So thank you again, Misha, for joining us today and delivering this great information. Love it. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Have a great one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.